Welcome back. This is still Kaka in the morning. Remember, as I promised, we will be looking at narcolepsy. As mentioned, it is a disease better known to us as the sleeping sickness. So I'm with Ivy, and she'll just be sharing with us what exactly narcolepsy is, as well as just the experience of living with this particular condition, because she is a person with a lived experience of narcolepsy. Remember, it's quite, let me say, a new term to many of us, as well as a condition that is not yet known to many, but probably many have experienced or have, let me say, loved ones that have this particular condition. So you can weigh in or just ask any question. Definitely Ivy will be very glad to respond to them. So you can do that via our SMS number, that is 01112220044. Remember, we are also coming to you live on Facebook as well as YouTube. There is KAK TV Kenya. Send in your questions or comments via those social media platforms that I have just mentioned. So I'm still with Ivy. Karibu sana Ivy. How are you doing?
I'm good.
You're well?
Yeah.
Sawa. Now just share with us probably of what exactly narcolepsy is. I mean, after being diagnosed with the condition, I'm sure you now understand more and even better. You can just share with us of what exactly narcolepsy is.
So narcolepsy basically is characterized by excessive sleep, though in most cases you'll get a person with other symptoms, like some have narcolepsy with cataplexy. This is like you fall, like your muscles tend to like lack strength completely. But that is rare. It's a rare case, but most people experience it. But for me, mine is just excessive sleep and paralysis. Like you are not able to wake up immediately after you have had some naps, or you are not able to sleep immediately. Yeah.
So for the, you said what?
Cataplexy.
Cataplexy.
Yeah.
So for that, does someone just fall? Do they jerk, or it's just falling?
You don't necessarily have to fall, because you can be seated like the way I'm seated right now, and just feel like you lack strength completely. You can't move from that point. It's like muscle paralysis. You don't move. Yeah.
All right. Now, talking of let me say, as you put it, not being able to wake up, let me say immediately, as you put it. So what exactly happens, or how are those few, let me say, minutes before you just wake up?
You'll feel like a hangover. Let me just describe it as a hangover, because you'll be trying to move your head. It's so heavy, like it's not really like you're not feeling like waking up, but still you can't sleep. So you're just in between being awake and being asleep. Yeah.
So like you're not asleep and neither are you awake. All right. And for the sleeping patterns, like for how long do we, let me say, probably when I sleep at 9 p.m. that's for me, I probably have an alarm and wake up. Is it the same for you?
Not necessarily. It depends, because if the whole day I was really trying to fight the sleep, the moment I'll sleep till the next day, or it can be an attack if I sleep and get myself waking up at 12 in the night. It depends. Like this, in this case, you don't have a predictable sleep pattern. Like the way your mind is programmed, you are supposed to sleep at 9, wake up at 6. Your mind is not programmed in this case. So you'll just have to learn to time yourself, get free time, get time that you can just have a nap, so as to try and train your body that you're supposed to be awake at this time, you're supposed to be asleep at this time. Yeah.
All right. Now you've talked of the mind. So is narcolepsy also related? Is it a brain condition, would you say?
Yeah. Narcolepsy is like, you need to have narcolepsy. You don't necessarily have to like have a certain like brain disorder, but the scientists have proven that it's a low dopamine levels. This is something they say about Hippocrates, something of such. So your dopamine levels are low. That's why you regularly have to have like numerous sleep naps.
Naps.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, just coming now to you, being a person that with a lived experience of narcolepsy, when were you diagnosed? Is it something that probably your parents saw probably the patterns for the diagnosis to take place, or how exactly did it happen?
So at first, you know, being a good performer at school, no one will ever care that you're asleep in class. So mostly it's realized in school actually for many people. Because in school they'll always be like, why are you sleeping? And if you are not a performer, let me tell you, in Kenyan schools they are going to, they'll harass you.
True, true.
So for me, I was really lucky because I was a performer at some point in my primary school. So by the time I was like sleeping, they really never cared a lot. But when they saw it's now extreme, they had to call my mom and tell her, no, your daughter
that
is
was
really
in primary?
sleeping. Yeah. But then my mom was lenient with me. She just like, just let her have a nap. Maybe she's not used to the boarding school because it was a new school. So since they realized I was not really bad, they just had to give me some time, sleep and all that. So they didn't harass me a lot. When I went to high school, they really wanted to know why is she sleeping in class. So it came to a point we had to get a diagnosis and know what is this. So my mom had heard of it from a seminar she had gone to. So she was like, no, let me now follow up on this. She took me to a hospital back home, and I was diagnosed with narcolepsy. That's now where the journey started. You have to know how will you manage this.
And first of all, what is this?
Yeah. How will you manage it? You're in high school. Everyone around does not understand what it is. How will you sensitize them? Because everyone will be like, this girl loves sleeping. She's lazy. Like sleep is always associated with laziness.
Laziness, true.
So mom was like, no, what will happen to my daughter? She was really stressed, but yeah, she had to get the strength first, so that for me even. So we had to move on together. She came to school, sensitized the teachers, and yeah.
How about performance at that particular time? Were you still performing in school?
Yeah. I was still performing in school. So, you know, but then in the school they'll be like, no, you'll encourage others to start doing it. So you have to stop doing it also for the others also not to emulate it and start faking it. So they were like so strict, they don't want me to sleep in class. You feel sleepy, get out, go wash your face, come back, stand.
Does that work?
I can't say it works. It doesn't. Because your brain level, dopamine level is low already. So washing your face will not bring it back up. So at some point, yes, I'll go, come back, sit for 2 minutes, and I'll start dozing off again. Yeah.
And now, being in school, I'm sure, like having any, let me just say, any condition, especially the non-communicable ones, narcolepsy being one of them, there's a lot of stigma that is associated with that. And you're young, you're still in high school, and you're being told that you have this particular condition. Did you understand it? And how did, let me say, most importantly, the students and even friends at home, how did they take that?
Most of my friends were used to me being that kind of person who loves sleeping. So they just understand I love sleeping a lot. So those who understand me are like, this one we are used to her. She'll just go sit down like this. We're making stories and she'll just be sleeping. So most of them just found it as a funny thing and just learned to live with it. Actually, most of my friends are very supportive. They're all like, they don't find it as a big deal. It's just a natural thing for me. So most of them are really supportive. They don't have a problem. But in school, there's always that. There are always those people who like making fun. So they'll find you asleep and be like, ask the whole class to start looking at you. Then they'll laugh. Because you know at some point you'll just sleep, you don't even know you're asleep. You're just like, please asleep.
Seated, like you don't have to...
You don't have, you know, it's funny because you're even asleep when your eyes are open.
Really?
Yeah. Because for me, I used to get myself, I'm really looking at you, but I can't get what you're saying. Or maybe, like, that's the first stage when you're sleeping for me. Or I can just be looking at you, like my eyes are closed, but I can get what you're saying. Yeah, that's how funny it is.
Wow, okay. And now you've talked over, let me say, how your mom got to learn of this particular condition in a seminar. Is there like a linkage, probably, let me say, to genetics? Is there any other person probably in the family with the same condition, or from, let me say, from your experience and the awareness that has been created, would you say narcolepsy is genetically linked in any way?
No, because for me, in my family, no one has been diagnosed by the same. Mostly, I can say that according to the researchers I've gone online and also from the doctors, they're associated with high anxiety levels. And mostly that's brought about by being in Kenyan schools, I can say, because there are schools that are really pressuring students in a way. And if you can't withstand the pressure, you're going to end up in, like, you can end up with narcolepsy or any other thing. Like, it's just a normal occurrence thing. The same way people get depressed, it's the same way you can get narcolepsy, you can get any other disease. Yeah.
Now, talking of, you've talked of anxiety. So are there any signs, like signs that come probably prior to you, probably sleeping, or what exactly happens before that you can probably tell that maybe this particular pattern will be coming in a few or something?
So you can start feeling so tired, one. Or you can have rapid eye movements. So like you keep blinking every minute. Like, yeah, it's so like you have fast blinking a lot. Yeah, mostly.
So blinking and headaches.
Yeah, not really headaches, but the feeling that your head is so heavy. It's not a headache. It's like a, I don't know what is it called. I can't get the name for it, but you feel your head is so heavy that you can't even, like you know, you can even be walking and you're like, ay, you feel like uneasy. Yeah.
Okay, now while walking, the same can still happen to you.
There are people who sleep, like you're walking and you're asleep. It happens to
so you're just moving. Has it happened to you before?
Yeah. There was a time I was really that sleepy in town, in the middle of town. And I was walking, but I had to sit in a hotel and just some tea and sleep.
Okay, and is there any other moment, probably ever since you were diagnosed, that was probably, let me just say, the worst moment of this particular condition? Is there a point that probably any moment that you can pinpoint?
My worst moment was when I slept in class and was chased out.
That's in high school, or?
Yeah, in high school. Actually, I've gone through not really, we can't say a lot in high school because they got to understand me. So, but before that, before the diagnosis was done and you have the papers to bring to school, I was chased out of class and I really loved the lessons. So I was like, what have I done wrong to be chased out of class? But yeah, it's just a moment of brushing out everything and you move on.
So you were like literally, was it in the middle of a lesson or?
Yeah, in the middle of a lesson. So I was chased out, and I love biology. So I was just chased out, but then I was like, they don't understand, so you just brush off. But in this disease, you have to learn to brush off things. Because you can be like asleep, you know, in a hotel, like now in school, like in campus, people will judge everything. With this generation, everyone can, no one, like people don't care about your view. They'll only judge. So you can just go sit down in these common places in like campus right now and sleep, and you'll just hear people talking. Because like for me, I told you I can just be asleep and I can get everything going on around me. So you'll just hear them talk. But now if you keep it in you, some people end up depressed before they realize what they are going through with this disease. Yeah. So you just learn to brush through, understand yourself. You know what you're going through. They don't understand you. So you have to just learn to brush through and live as you are, accept yourself, be you. Yeah.
Okay, now was that was on Thursday 22nd. The world marked now Narcolepsy Day. This means it's now a condition that is understood or just being spoken of internationally. Maybe you can just share with us if you can remember probably the theme of that particular day and what exactly was the message that was being passed across.
So we call it narcolepsy not alone, meaning that we are one. We are together in this, we move together. So narcolepsy not alone, like as I have this bracelet with me, I work with it everywhere. So it's written narcolepsy not alone. We have a hashtag not alone narcolepsy. It's like it's all over the world. Actually, narcolepsy is actually a very new case, a rare condition in Kenya. And Africa is at large. But when you go like online and look for those people going through narcolepsy all over the world, in USA there are really a lot of people going through the same, and other numerous, like it's an organization organized for people with sleep disorders. Yeah.
Okay, so the message is not alone. That was still the theme for this year's World Narcolepsy Day.
Not alone.
Okay. Now I'll say you just mentioned that you're a first year and you're young, let me say, and you truly understand over what narcolepsy is. I'm sure you get involved with awareness creation as well. What would you say? Let me first of all just your word to any young girl or young boy or any person that has narcolepsy. What will be your word to them, as well as the caregivers? What will be your word to them?
So narcolepsy is not a life sentence. Narcolepsy is not imprisonment. You can do anything you want with narcolepsy. I'm a very good example. I'm in campus, meaning you like being in campus is not really being successful, but for me it's a milestone. It's a journey towards success. A journey will not, like, as a car goes, there is a way the car will always get like a puncture. This is like a puncture in your life. So you learn to repair it and move on. In everyone's life, we can't say you don't have hardships. We all have our hardships. Narcolepsy is your hardship. Learn to live with it. Go further. Learn the sky is the limit for everyone.
Even beyond the sky, possible.
So the sky is never the limit then. You can get anywhere you want. Determination is the key. Not a disability, is not inability. Yeah.
How about to the society?
The society, don't stigmatize. Sleep is not laziness. Sleep is just like it's resting you. We all sleep, but the time is different. So sleep is just, you just rest. It's the same way you'll be seated. The person seated there, no job and everything. Not that they don't want to work. They need the jobs, but they're not there. The same way, I'm not sleeping because I'm lazy. It's because it's there. Yeah.
Okay. And you also mentioned of a very, very important thing to do with, you mentioned of anxiety. You also mentioned of how probably, let me say, narcolepsy can make one get depressed, just as far as what the stigma, discrimination, and what the society says about this particular condition. So in terms of mental health, or your mental health, would you say there is a point in your life where you are, let me say, depressed as far as this condition is concerned? And do you also try to seek, other than probably the drugs that you take, do you also try to probably go for counseling sessions?
For me, it didn't get to that point that I got depressed. But if you don't learn to accept yourself, that's a point that will might lead you to depression. But if you learn to accept yourself, even the drugs are not necessary. For me, I don't take any drugs. You just manage it. Learn to move on. Learn to live like any normal human being. Learn to accept yourself. Yeah. But yeah, depression is brought about by lack of acceptance a lot. And the people around you. So as long as you have support from the people around you, you'll always be normal. Like when I'm normal. Yeah.
Sure, I really love your positivity. Any other thing that you'll want to say, probably by just looking at this camera, any other thing that you'll want to say as far as narcolepsy is concerned?
Support. Support anyone around you, support yourself at first. You'll never get support from the people around you if you don't support yourself. Yeah.
And I'm sure your family, let me say especially your mom, they've really shown you that support that you need as far as the condition is concerned. Any word to them also for the organization that you're in? Any word to everyone that has just shown you the support?
It's always a thank you for them. And God's blessings should share them every morning, every time, especially for my mom. She's been there for me all through. I've seen her go through a lot with me. she's actually my strength right now. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ivy. Thank you for being brave and sharing. If I tell you how old Ivy is, you'll actually be shocked. And she's been able to help us in creating awareness of narcolepsy, just sharing with us of what exactly narcolepsy is, how it comes about, and now you know the scientific name of this particular condition that most of us term as a sleeping sickness. You now know that is actually narcolepsy, a condition where one is unable to control the sleep and wake patterns. That was Ivy, a student at the Kenyatta University. She's actually pursuing marketing and fashion design. So nothing can limit you. I mean, your condition, whatever condition or health condition that you have, should not limit you to achieving your dreams. Just borrowing some of her words, she says, the sky is never the limit, despite you having narcolepsy or any other medical condition. You should live your life to the fullest. So we were just looking at narcolepsy. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was Ivy. Remember, on 22nd of September, the world marks Narcolepsy Day, just to help in creating awareness about this particular condition. Ivy has just shared of how whatever the life that she went through in school, as well as generally in her life. So it's all about creating awareness about narcolepsy. Once again, that was Ivy, and thank you so much, Ivy, for coming around. So we'll take a very, very short break. As I mentioned, we'll be coming back with another topic of discussion, that is our contraceptives. Remember, the world today is marking World Contraceptives Day. So we'll just be looking at this. Remember, as I mentioned, the Ministry of Health has just shared some statistics that I'll just be sharing with you as far as family planning, among other contraceptives are concerned, and the men seem to be lagging behind as far as contraceptives and family planning is concerned. And according to the Ministry of Health, it's all about the patriarchal society. However, the men are still leading as far as decision making in families are concerned, because a woman or this particular wife or lady will still go to men just to seek advice of whether to go the family planning way or not. So that's a topic of discussion that we'll be having in a few. We take a very short break. We'll be right back.